If you need cheap codes or cheap games, head on over to g2a.com. I'll leave the links down below in the description. Remember to use dirty at checkout.
What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike, and today, my friends, we're back with a bit of the 40 and 40 theme. And I know that I'm behind in terms of what's been happening with the series, weekend leagues, all the above, but I'm still going to push out that content. I've just been traveling a lot lately, but I'm not here to give you any excuses. If you do enjoy these conversation pieces, which I would say happen once a week, it allows us to open up a lot of different topics and discussion because I have a little more time to speak, and I have the remaining games from, I want to say this is October 13th, that weekend. So it's not what's currently going down. However, I did start out the weekend very well, if I recall, and check the previous episodes. All those games, live reactions from the live stream are available, but I was undefeated at this point. I think I'm coming in 13-0, I believe. 13-0, I'm looking at the notes. But we're going to discuss what needs to change with the weekend league, what needs to change with FUT Champs, and I want your feedback in the comments. I want your suggestions. I want to know what you think needs to change in terms of gameplay for the weekend league. What would you like to see different? And also, what topics do you want to see me open up for discussion, as I previously was starting to get into in future videos like this, because we just have more time. Plain and simple. We've got a little bit more time to work with. And I want to start out with interceptions. We're talking about defense. And I think there's an imbalance right now between defense and offense, but I'm not asking for any AI help. I don't want that. I'm not looking for EA to revert even closer to FIFA 17. I just think there's some imbalance between how attackers move and how defenders move and how the ball speed also moves. And I'm expecting a new patch. I saw an announcement. The guys on the PC have already received this patch. It's already been downloaded. It's already been applied. I'm not playing on the PC. The patch notes say it's going to fix some of the 360 passing, the 180 passing, these just really odd angles where you can deliver beautifully accurate, on-demand through balls or normal A passes, that premium tiki-taka, but it's just not that skillful. If I'm facing that direction, I shouldn't be able to pull a 180 and make an accurate pass. I never see professional players do this. It's not a good form of simulation. It's not good for esports or good for the competitive community. But back to what I think needs to be changed, interceptions. So I don't know about you at home, and this is why I love making these videos, because outside of all the gameplay that I get to bring, and there's going to be a lot of gameplay this week, I have not forgotten about any tutorials or tips. I've just been biting off a lot lately in terms of some of the traveling, and I had a lot of issues here with the hurricane where my place actually ended up having mold and basically have to move out. And there's gonna be a lot of things changing. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm not here. I'm happy, or I'm not here for excuses. I'm happy about my life. I'm happy about YouTube, and I'm happy about you guys watching the videos and enjoying the content. I just want to keep you informed on what's going on. I'm sitting on a lot of gameplay that I just need to edit. I need to review, and trying to have a consistent live stream that I'm putting in more hours, which I'm enjoying with you guys. Of course, I gotta turn that content around and get as much of that on YouTube as possible, so we can keep pushing forward with this series. Excuse me. I couldn't get it out there, man. And yes, I might have the editing eyes. I am definitely tired. Been playing some weekend league games. I have a flight actually at 6 a.m. this morning, heading back to New York. Very, very quick trip. Very, very quick trip. But I also want to bring out a crossing tutorial very soon. I've been really enjoying and experimenting with a lot of the crossing up to this point in terms of when to whip it in, how to whip it in, what to look for, when to take it down off your chest, how to finish, and the volleys are just so supreme. Designer brand. I love the volleys this year. But back to what we were talking about. I don't want to ramble too far off, and we're discussing something that has nothing to do with the problems with the weekend league. So number one for me is interceptions need to be improved. The double team button, that teammate contain, needs to be improved. When I double team, I need to be able to press you and force you to make mistakes. And if I'm reading the game quicker than you are, I should be rewarded. And I just don't feel like we're at that point. I actually feel that the better your team, the better chance that you have to win games. Almost plain and simple. Not necessarily always based on ability. It just seems like some of those guys perform better. So when you go against a squad of the Vieiras and the Hullets, good luck. Even if you're better than that opposition. And I do understand that there is, to a certain degree, somebody has a much better team than you. They should get better results. They should have an advantage. But I'm not accustomed to seeing so much, not AI do it for you, but they just seem to react quicker. They just seem to win 50-50s where nobody did anything at times, and that can be a bit frustrating. But I think one of the worst features right now in the weekend league, depending what side of the ball or what side of the pitch you're on, is that after people score, they're able to hold the ball pretty easily, especially if they are skilled players. So if I'm really good at the game, I'm up 2-0, you're starting to forge your comeback, maybe I just say, nah, we're going to change this up. We're going to pause the game, going to go to maybe a wider formation. I'm just going to hold it because the passing is just so damn accurate and the pressure doesn't match the passing speed. I know they've always said the reason that they teach you to pass is because you can pass quicker than you can run, right? You can pass the ball around people, but in this FIFA, I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous in terms of that imbalance, especially if you're looking for esports ready. If you're looking for a competitive title, I think we need to improve on that. That's just my opinion, but I do not want, I want to say this again, I do not want anything to do with a FIFA 17, defenders do the defending for you, they just sit put. In fact, after the most recent patch, which would have been a couple weeks after the game came out, we have a lot of defenders that are better on their own. I'm not sure where I fall right now. There's tons of goals being scored and conceded, but I still play people that only run back with the center mids and the CDMs, and that can be a very effective method to defending. And that's kind of frustrating, and I also don't think it's a good look from EA when you got to take that into consideration, where that's still a plausible way of defending, where you can blindly just track back and you've got a chance. Shouldn't be like that, especially not once you've seen the taste or you've had the teaser of early on in the year. And I'm not saying the game that dropped was amazing or incredible or so much better than what we're currently using now, but it was different, and I wish that EA would have given us a little more time for a learning curve to see exactly what needed to be changed or not be changed. If I recall, the first couple weeks the goalkeepers were pretty bad. They've definitely improved, but either way, we'll see what this next patch does. I know it's supposed to address the passing. However, if you know EA, anytime they drop a patch, it always does more than just one fix. Always more than one fix. But let's move on to the next point. What else needs to be fixed in the weekend league? And it's a no-brainer actually for me. Without a doubt, you need to fix. EA, please listen to this video. I know a lot of you guys watch the videos. You know, this is why I said drop a like, get in the comments, send it to EA. The kickoffs, what's going on? I'm not joking when I say half the goals I concede from some of the weekend leagues are from kickoffs. And I've tried everything, and I would not recommend an offside trap, by the way, this year. It's a little bit too slow when they step. People will catch you sleeping. But the problem is that I'm conceding a variety of goals. So in past FIFA installments, if somebody had a kickoff, you knew when you really screwed up and you had a chance of giving up a goal. Maybe he broke through your midfield line, maybe hit you with some 1-2s, or maybe it was a year that there was that pass chip through ball, and you had to be on the lookout for it. This year, from kickoff, it's as if my team, the defending team, the sliders are just pushed down and the offensive sliders pushed up. If you don't know what sliders are, I'm talking about more of an offline game mode. It's really simple with the AI, sliders, the CPU. If you played squad battles this year, you probably noticed, hey, as I go up in difficulty, my team just doesn't seem as fast. We make some unforced errors. A similar concept, but from kickoff, for whatever reason, the offensive team is always better than the defensive team. They're always. It's just a guarantee. And the problem I'm having is the variety, as I was trying to say, is like, I give up long shots. I give up crosses. If the guy runs the wing, I can't catch him. If he cuts inside, not happening. Tiki-taka, no chance. Rebound, oh, come on down. It just seems as if your team is not responsive, and that's why you're seeing so many goals conceded. It's not just me. I see it on Twitter every single day. You guys in the comments on a daily basis. Everybody's having problems with kickoff, and it's not because we don't know how to defend. It's not because we're not able to stop somebody in the run of play. It's because there's something happening at the beginning of these matches when we're in that kickoff position. At least in my opinion, we clearly have an issue, and EA needs to fix that issue. I've already made a video recently talking about changes I would make to FUT Champions in terms of not necessarily gameplay, but servers and just kind of the process of getting in and out of games. Because now we have this home away situation. We have different stadiums. I think we should have dedicated stadiums. I don't think we're gonna have attribute cards for the competitive months, which is good. I don't know why they allow attribute cards at all, but I was discussing more the format. I know the skill rating and the algorithm that EA is using for matchups is awful. And you can prove that now more than ever before because you have the Champions channel. Go look at anybody that you got, top 100. Go peep who they played against. See how many other top 100 players they went up against. Most of them it'll be none. The answer will be 0. I'll help you out. See how many Elite 1 players they went up against. It's not going to be many. Most of the guys in the top 100 at best played 2 to 3 Elite. Now, don't even worry about Elite 1. Elite 1, 2, or 3. They only played maybe 3 or 4 in their entire weekend league. I'll still never forget in the initial weekend league, the first one, Gorilla finished number 1. But I looked at his Champions channel, and I think he only played one guy that was top 100 that he probably did not want to play. And then, yeah, it was a mistake game. And then I think he had 1 elite game. But that's it. Number 1 on skill points. Number 1 on skill points. So this is the most difficult opponents you could have gone up against based on EA's logic. And he only played 1 elite player, and he played 1 top 100 player. And that worries me as a system, but it's another video I made basically just discussing how everything's going down. That's something I want to bring for discussion here as well. So EA, a couple days ago, they announced the official rules and how they were going to do the qualification for the most part. Some things are still unannounced on their announcement regarding FUT Champs and what's changed. So this year, it does look as if for the qualifier month, which will be in November, you're going to have the top 64 players globally on Xbox and top 64 players globally on PS4 would qualify. They have not specified anything about regions, so you have to assume that this means global in general. However, I wonder to myself, and I'm speaking unbiased here, don't think, oh, Mike, you're just going to say that because you're in the Americas region, yada, yada. No, don't think of this as being some sort of biased segment. I'm just giving you some devil's advocate, giving you something to think about. So there's 64 players that qualify. Do you think they should have a ceiling on which, I guess, which regions get a certain amount? Like, you get to this point and you're maxed out, or you just think best available, whoever gets the best, or whoever's top 64, go for it. And I bring that up because I was thinking to myself, oh, I wonder if EA would allow, like, let's say Europe had 50 players, and then they only had, you know, their remaining, I guess 14 players came from rest of world or the Americas division. Would they do that? Or would they want more variety? I know they have other qualifiers that say, well, there's going to be this other World Club tournament, or there's going to be these other sanctioned events, but they haven't been announced yet, that could get you a slot. But I just would be surprised to see FIFA and EA, who have now teamed up, eliminate the world aspect in terms of having some sort of split. Now, don't get me wrong, Europeans, there's more of them. There's more of them that have performed over in the weekend league over and over again. But I almost feel, since I'm in the Americas, that I should get to play against them. Because now our competition is global. It's not a regional to get to another regional. And I'm a little bit disappointed with EA, not on this announcement, but the fact that I talked to EA employees last year at events, and they said, Mike, we're going to have more LAN events. Mike, we're going to have more spots for these LAN events. This announcement that they've made now is not that. We don't have more spots. If anything, they have lessened the budget because instead of having the 3 events, they now just have the 1, and they have that event again. So I guess it went from 6 events to 2 events. And we have to leave out the other unannounced events that we're not sure about. But you see where I'm coming from. We had the first regional and the second regional last year. And now this year, I think we just have 2 of those. What do you guys think of the qualification process? I figure the top 4 or 5 guys from rest of the world will get a spot. Who knows who they're playing against in their region, but there are a couple guys that are really gifted at the game. They just so happen to be in that region. I was thinking to myself that how many guys would come top 64 in the Americas? Would it be 10? Would it be 12? Would it be 14? I'm not sure, but I feel like it'll be in the teens. So somewhere between, I'd say 13 all the way up to 19. Somewhere in there will be the Americas qualification. And then in Europe, of course, is really good for those guys because last year they had to be damn near perfect, even though almost everybody had to be right there. You could not lose games and want to be at an event. At least not in the European region and the Americas region. No shot towards the rest of the world. I just think it was a little bit easier to get to the event. Now, what you did there, that was hard because they only had the 1 spot. So you had to win the entire event in order to get to a world final. But in order to get to that regional, you need to be good, but you didn't need to be one of the best players in the world. And like I said, no shots there. I'm just speaking openly and honestly. And I wanted to know what you guys were kind of thinking about these announcements. I think it's going to be very difficult to qualify. And something else I've noticed, you're going to see a couple disconnects in this video, sadly, and that really threw me off. I think both games that I get a disconnect, I lose the following game. And that could be out of frustration. There's nothing that makes me more angry than disconnects. I still wish EA would implement something where, let's say we get disconnected and we get 30 seconds to reconnect or a minute to reconnect. We only get to do it once. I think it would be good for the title. I think it would be good for this competitive esport, especially considering that we're at a point now where you damn near have to be perfect, and that is also EA's fault. The way they've set up the qualification, and they're not using a very good system in order to allocate who's the best players. It's who can beat above average players the best. That's what this is right now. Weekend League, who can beat above average players with the best consistency. And no disconnects, and please don't lose connection to the internet. And it should be a little more head-to-head than that, in my opinion. And also, you don't want it, like, it should be so special. And I've talked about this last year. I talked about it this year on the live stream. It should be so special for someone to go 40-0, to go 39-1, to go 38-2. It should be an achievement. And now, if somebody goes 38 wins, like, if Gorilla were to have 38 wins, it would be a terrible weekend for him, and that's unbelievable to me. And that's because of the system. And the big mistake is that it matches you up based on what? We have no idea. And it should match you up based on the tier that you're currently in. So if I'm playing in silver, I should play against silver. If I'm in gold, any of the golds, send me a gold player. If I'm an elite, send me an elite player. Or a top 100 player. I think that makes sense, and it just seems like something that wouldn't be that difficult to add into the mix. However, I say that, but I am not a programmer. I have nothing to do with these algorithms, and I think it's too late this year, unless they already had something in the works, to make that sort of change. So we're going to see a game mode that basically looks just like last year, which, I don't know. Maybe I had hopes, but I just felt like it was going to have a shift because so much success, so many people playing FIFA, everybody wants to be involved in the competitive scene, so I'm getting kind of hyped. We're going to have more events, more content to be produced, more people to work with, more coverage. Esports is coming, and then they cut the LAN side of events, at least at the moment. And then they also didn't rework this system. They should be ahead of the curve. It doesn't take someone who's gifted with insight to be able to, hey, I just want to give you guys some suggestions. I think we should make it where we'd randomize home and away. So everyone starts on the left side, you go into a game, and somebody's home, someone's away. I think we should make there's a set stadium for this competitive game mode. In Ultimate Team, you do whatever you want, but in FUT Champs, you have to treat the game mode a little bit different. You can't do the same type of things. People are playing for $100,000, $200,000, really serious amounts of money, and growth, exposure, opportunities. They have this new platform now, or not new, but they have this major platform that's supporting them. And you need to have everything to a T in terms of the details and the announcements. We just received an announcement, okay? We just received an announcement, what, 4 days before qualification would start? Hey, go sign up. Why? I know you guys at EA have known that this was happening, and this is not a video to shoot anything off at them. Everything they've been doing with esports is amazing. I'm glad they finally teamed up with FIFA, because before we had FUT Champs, we had FIFA Interactive World Cup. Now it looks like they've came together and that we're going to have some sort of combo event, which is great. I think we're going to see more clubs involved. I think we're going to see more leagues. I think we're going to see more players creating content, and of course showcasing their ability on the virtual pitch as well. Ooh, not a bad goal there. Not a bad finish. But when I've been playing the Weekend League, I've noticed whether I have 37 wins or 34 wins, my performance as a player isn't better or worse. I just feel like in one of those, I was a little more clutch or a little luckier. And that kind of bothers me as well. I want it to be where I feel that I played better. So that's why I wanted to really open this video up for what do you think needs to be changed with FUT Champs in terms of gameplay. I want to talk about the new format with the competitive gaming. And then I also want to discuss with you guys what formations you're liking and why. I know I've made videos covering formations, and I'm going to do more, but I just want to know if you had to list, let's say your 2 or 3 go-to formations. What are they and why? Please go into some depth in the comment section. I'm going to read through there. I'm going to go back and forth with you. I just want to know what you're looking at. I'm seeing a lot of 4-2-3-1s, seeing a lot of 4-1-2-1-2s. We're seeing some 4-3-3s. And I really haven't fallen in love necessarily with any formation. I've played the majority of my games in that 4-2-3-1. I think having 2 CDMs is good, and being able to control a match is also good, but I'm not in love. I even played a little bit of 4-4-2, or sorry, not 4-4-2, 4-2-2-2, which I could see the comeback for that formation. I've seen people playing the 4-4-2 as well, so maybe a classic formation makes a return. I guess so much comes down to the defensive end. Can you play defense out of this formation? Are you capable of stopping people? And that's kind of been the question. I will have that tutorial coming soon, but I still have games where I can't believe it. I give it 4 goals, 3 goals, and a lot of those I win, but it's still unbelievable to me that it's that difficult to keep a clean sheet. And I'd love to see EA make some changes. Like I said, not with defense in terms of anything with the manual to automated. I don't want that. I want it to be as manual as possible. I just think that we need to work out a better system. The other issue, too, is when you're pressuring. And let me know if you guys agree or disagree. But when you're pressuring, especially late in a game, the AI is very dumb. I could be on ultra attack, high pressure. I've got custom tactics set where we're going crazy with aggression, crazy with pressure, and my attackers will press, but my midfield won't go with them afterward. So therefore, there's this big gap. Or my midfield will go and then my defense won't go with them. Then there's this big gap, and it's like they have a miscommunication. In real life, this would never happen. When you press as a squad. Even if you do kind of the half-field traps, which is very common in football. Whether you're watching the Premier League, the Bundesliga, the La Liga, the Serie A, the Liga 1, you name it. Very common where they wait for the attacking side to get to around half field, and then they start trapping and they start pressing, and they turn it on and off, and they try to do this to make sure they stay active, they stay in shape. They're not getting fatigued running around all over the pitch, but at the same time, people do use a full pitch press as well. And I've just noticed that that's another big problem. If you are losing, you might even be better than your opponent, but the way that they're able to slow down the game, to kill off the game, it's too easy. How many of you guys have lost the game from the 75th minute where you just didn't get to touch the ball very much anymore? I'm saying from the 75th to the 90th, you maybe got 1 touch. Because I've been a part of those matches, and I'm just sitting here like, yo, we got problems. Like, this cannot happen. Especially at the pro level where the players are so good, both offensively and defensively. But, I mean, if the offense has that level of advantage with the passing and the accuracy of the passing and the speed of the passing, then why wouldn't Vitality Rocky, someone who's just brilliant, he's a machine, not be able to hold the ball against you? It doesn't matter how good you probably pressure. If the advantage is to the attacking side, ooh, you're in trouble. That guy does not make mistakes like that. As you can see, our final game, I go up against this guy all the time. I think it's Galacticos or something. We never have good connection either. Those games either turn out being a back-and-forth shootout because nobody can stop anybody, or the exact opposite, the vice versa, where 1 goal finishes it all off. But if you enjoyed it, please drop a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're brand new. Happy to have you. Remember, this is more of a conversation, and I wanted to kind of open up some discussion with the announcements that we've had in the community. But I have a lot more content come for you ASAP. Peace.